George, how you doing?
I'm doing wonderful, my friend. How are you? This is Derrick?
Yeah, this is Brother Derrick.
How you doing, man?
Oh, I'm blessed. I'm blessed.
Good.
You ready for me?
I'm ready, man.
Okay. Hey, it's a privilege and it's an honor to interview you. Hey, I heard the Spirit said reach out to George Fraser, so I did, and here we are.
Huh? There it is.
There it is. You know, years ago.
Walk down the app style.
Right. Years ago, I had your book, Success Runs in Our Race,
Yes.
and now I'm interviewing you.
Wow.
And
God works in mysterious ways, huh?
yeah, it was just a little over a year ago where I said, hey, I'm gonna brand my name, with a Derrick interview, and I'm gonna start interviewing people. And then I started one day. I said I'm gonna interview the biggest names in the game. And then a few weeks ago, Roy Jones Jr. came into the city, into Columbus, Georgia, and I received an email, and I followed up on it. And then I was able to get in position where he gave me an exclusive. And so, I interviewed Dr. Benjamin Chavis. I interviewed George Curry, who I know you're good friends with.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and so now I'm interviewing you. So I'm putting the work in. I'm asking for the opportunity. Not everyone's saying yes, not everyone's saying no. But hey, if you, like you said, if you don't ask, you can't receive.
That's right, man. That's right.
Yeah, so I appreciate everything you've done with FraserNet, the Success Guide, the Power Networking events. So I've been following you. So it's not just I haven't heard of you. How some people haven't heard of you, they just want to interview you. So yeah, so I just let you know. And your website for all the people that will be listening is FraserNet.com.
That's right. FraserNet.com.
Okay, do you have any, before we get into the Derrick interview, do you have any other websites out there or some of the books that you'd like to mention?
You go to Power Networking Conference.
PowerNetworkingConference.com?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I've been following you, so hey, if you want to learn more about George C. Fraser, go to FraserNet.com or PowerNetworkingConference.com.
That's right.
Okay. I always like to get that out in the beginning and at the end. The D in my name is for dream. After all that you have accomplished, what is your dream?
Let me ask you a question first. Are you going to record this or what do you,
Yeah, I'm recording it.
oh, you're ready. Okay, good. All right.
Yeah, I'm actually doing something different. I'm making a video out of this.
Oh, my goodness. Okay.
No, hey, technology, man. I said one day I just want to do something different because videos are found better in the search engines than print. And so if I make a video out of it, it's on YouTube, more people will see it. And then we can also transcribe it into an article for a magazine or a newspaper.
That's very smart. Very smart. Okay, I'm ready.
All right, the D in my name is for dream. After all that you have accomplished, at this day and time, after 25 years in the game, what is your dream?
My dream is to ultimately link up Black America to teach our people the power and importance of relationships and to connect the dots so that we can be more effective with our collective resources. We are not only a dispersed people. I live in Cleveland. We have relatives in Africa. We have relatives in the Caribbean. We have relatives in Atlanta. We have relatives in Chicago. minor people. People going nowhere, I want you to go nowhere with them. People doing nothing, I want you to do nothing with them. If you want to change your life, change your relationships. Build the networks that will allow you to take your life, to take your career, or to take your business, and ultimately our community to where God wants us to really go. And so we must understand that. So I'm investing and have invested the balance of my life to helping our brothers and sisters understand the power and importance of connecting the dots, of working with them through each other, of leveraging the tremendous resources that God has already given us. And this will require us linking up and doing work with and through each other. That's my dream for our people. I think that dream will ultimately manifest itself not while I'm living. I planted seeds to help that dream to survive and to thrive over time. But it won't come to full fruition probably until the 22nd century.
Okay, I like what you said about connecting our people, connecting the dots, and dots came to me meaning dreams open true salvation, and so I just like what you're saying here. And the E in my name is for education. How important is education inside or outside of the classroom, and how do you use it on a daily basis?
Well, I have a basic education. I have a high school diploma. That was very important back in the 50s and 60s. I'm nearly 70 years old. I was born in 1945 in Brooklyn, New York. So I got a high school diploma. I then went to college, and I worked on the midnight shift at LaGuardia Airport. Went to college. Then I got out of college, and then I committed myself to reading and to lifelong learning and to building my vocabulary. I thought that was very important. I thought there were a couple of things that was critically important if I was going to succeed in America as a black man. One was to be able to speak the King's English correctly.
Right.
And the second was to develop my vocabulary so that I could think on a deeper level. Let me say that differently. See, you cannot think any deeper than your vocabulary will allow you to. There are about 350,000 words
the R in my name is for resource. What does George Fraser bring to the table that makes him stand out or unique?
I think that I have a very high EQ, not IQ, but an emotional intelligence. My interpersonal and people skills, my ability to manage my emotions and to use the management of my emotions to work on my relationships has really helped me to build a massive network of 51,000 top black professionals, business owners, and community leaders. And so that's the resource that I have been working on developing in my own life, and that is my, again, emotional intelligence, my interpersonal and people skills, my ability to get along and work with and through other people, and to look at the world not only from my own point of view, but from the point of view of the person that I am standing in front of right now at this moment in time, and to listen to those words that are unspoken, to speak in a way that I ask questions to really determine what that person needs, what that person wants, what they are about, and then go through my mental Rolodex of human resources and things that I have available to me and find some way that I can help that person quickly. And so that's the resource that I bring to the table of life. And I think we all have to bring something to the table.
Right.
Like developing our skills is very, very important. Because you see, God will invite everybody to the table of life to eat. There will be no exceptions to that rule, Derrick.
Right.
But if the only thing you do when you come to the table of life is eat, and you don't bring anything to the table, you will not be invited back.
Right. Okay, the next R is for ready. When did you know you were ready for what you're doing now?
It took me 42 years to get ready, from 0 to 42 years, and 20 of those 42 years I spent in leadership positions in the public and private sector, learning on somebody else's dime. I needed some skills in marketing, selling, promotion. I needed some skills building in business. And so I wanted to learn on somebody else's dime. I wanted to learn from the best and brightest people who were doing the things that I wanted to do. And after 42 years, I opted out. I was 42 years old. I opted out of the public and private sector, opted out of my job, the velvet handcuffs of corporate America, and began down the path of my own business. That's when I started FraserNet at 42 years old. So we've been in business for 26 years. I knew that I was ready at 42 because the corporate jobs that I had, I was bored, which means that I was not being tapped for my full potential. And it was time for me to move on and do things as I envisioned them and as I dreamed about them.
Okay. The I in my name is for individual. Name at least one individual in your network, and you can name others if you like. Name at least one individual in your network that others should learn more about, and why.
Well, I think people should learn more about my good friend Les Brown, who's a great speaker and a great motivator. He has a lot to teach and a lot to say in terms of inspiring people to maximize their full human potential. I think people should learn a lot more about Susan Taylor with her National Cares mentoring movement, where she shifted from a corporate position
Right, because recently I saw some documentaries on the Moors and also Hidden Colors. So I appreciate what you're saying right now.
Thank you.
And the C in my name is for challenge. What are some challenges that you have faced and that you may still face today?
Well, the biggest challenge I had to face is when I was 3 years old, my mother became mentally ill. There were 11 of us, 8 boys and 3 girls. She was institutionalized for the balance of her life, and then I was orphaned. I was orphaned at 3, stayed in an orphanage from 3 to 5. And then after that, they broke us up into 3s because nobody would take 11 children. And I spent the balance of my young life in foster homes from 5 years old until I aged out at 18 years old. And so that was the biggest challenge of my life, and that is overcoming the residual effects of not being raised by your biological mother and father. The second biggest challenge I'm facing now, of course, and will always be, is the starting, growing, and nurturing of a business. And I recommend more of us think about entrepreneurship and think about starting and building our own businesses so that we create working jobs for our people, because that's the only way to raise up the poor. But it's a heck of a challenge. It's a daily challenge. The hours that you have to put in, the creativity that you have to bring to the table, the work ethic that is necessary to really sustain a business and succeed a business and to thrive doing a business. So the biggest challenge, of course, is starting and building and ultimately nurturing. Now, some 26 years later, Derrick,
Yes.
it's 26 years. So that's a challenge. It's a wonderful challenge. As I tell brothers and sisters all the time, build your own dream or somebody will hire you to build theirs.
Right. I have a slogan I use: use your skills or someone else will.
That's right. That's right.
The K in my name is for keys. What are some keys to success that you can leave for others? You just mentioned build your dreams. What are some others?
I think it's very, very important. You heard me say it right at the beginning. Read, read, read. Read a minimum of 1 book a month. The average American only reads 1 book a year. And if you read 1 book a month, you will read 60 books in 5 years, and the average American will have only read 5. You're going to be smarter and much better prepared. So read. Number 2, I talked about this earlier. Know thyself. Know who you are. Know where you're from. Know your history. Know your greatness. The foundation of all that you will be is built on your history, the marvelous history of our people, in spite of the fact that we were enslaved people for nearly 400 years. We come from a rich and magnificent culture and history. And the Bible tells us that the first shall be last, and the last shall be first. And so we know that if we were once great, that we will be great again. But you must understand that and come to grips with that by knowing thyself. I think number 3 for me is never stop learning. I talked about that before. Be committed to constant growth, constant development, lifelong learning, and constant never-ending improvement. Never stop learning. That's number 3. And number 4, work ethic. Work smart, for sure, and work hard. There is no such thing as a 4-hour work week. There was a popular book on the New York Times bestsellers list called The 4-Hour Work Week. Well, I don't know anybody that is madly successful that works 4 hours a week. That's baloney.
Right.
No, there's no, you don't work 4 hours a week. You have to put in the hours.
Right.
8 hours is for subsistence. And it's what you do after the first 8 hours of work that will determine your quality of life. There is no
appreciate that. Is there anything that we did not touch on that you would like to inspire others with?
Yes, I want people to remember out here a very, very simple little saying. It's not how you start, it's how you finish. I started in an orphanage and in toxic foster homes, but I finished in the Hall of Fame. I was just inducted into the Minority Business Hall of Fame in a museum. So it's not how you start, it's how you finish. You have to play the hand that God has given you. Whatever that hand is, you have to play that hand. You have to play those cards. And if you play those cards, God will give you new cards. And you will finish just as God has assigned you to finish. He has put you here to do his work. All of his work is good and purposeful. And that needs to be your finish. Doing his work, being on purpose. And sometimes it's a rough start. Sometimes we stumble. But so long as you stumble forward, you're going to be okay.
Hey, I appreciate your time. This is Derrick Hayes with an exclusive Derrick interview with George Fraser of FraserNet.com. Like he said, he's a learning legend. He just got inducted into the Minority Business Hall of Fame. I thank you for taking your time out to grace us with this great basket of knowledge.
God bless you, Derrick. You keep doing God's work. Anytime I can serve you, give me a call.
Okay, I'll be in touch, and you take care.